Jums ir bijis kaut kāds saskars ar latvāņiem vispār dzīvē?
Nē. Kas tas ir vispār?
Es zinu, cik viņš ir bīstams, un es viņu neaiztieku.
It grows very high with such big leaves, and when you touch it, it's like burning.
Viņa mana siltumnīcā nav, un mana dārza arī latvāņa nav. Es tik liecīju, ka man draudzene vienreiz bija drausmīgi tādām čūlām, un es prasīju, ko tu darīji, viņi teica, pļauj latvāņas. Latvāņas pļauj, viņi bija visu rokas, visa seja, viss bija vienas čūlas.
No tiem, man liekas, vajadzētu intensīvāk cīnīties, lai neaizvāk visu laiku.
Giant hogweed is a plant that's very common in Latvia and a lot of Eastern Europe. It's actually an invasive species, and invasive means it's not indigenous here. It's not a plant that was originally from this region. It comes from the Caucasus, like Georgia, and northern Iran, northwest Iran. If you touch the giant hogweed, you can scar your skin for life, or it even increases your risk of getting cancer later on. So it's a very dangerous plant to human health. It's very bad for biodiversity in that these giant hogweed plants are very tall, they have long stalks with big white flowers on top. But the key is that they have these big leaves, many big leaves that can be up to 2 meters long. And these leaves cover everything that's beneath them. So other plants can't grow because they don't get light. There are several people in Latvia who made maps of where giant hogweed exists, but there's no comprehensive map. Now, each one of them is not completely full, and we're trying to combine these maps and create a more comprehensive map that really shows where almost all the giant hogweed locations are.
The kinds of data that we need are one like the map of Latvia, as you can see here, and then we also need data on the different landscape variables like watersheds, building, natural resources, railway, roads. We need all this data to put them together. We also need data of giant hogweed in the field.
To map the giant hogweed, we're using 2 methods. One is satellite imagery. We're going to try and track some giant hogweed locations using satellites. But in addition to that, to get more of the hogweed locations, and particularly to get the small patches of giant hogweed, we're going to need to use GPS because the satellite images won't catch all of the instances of particularly small patches. So to use GPS, we're going to have high school students throughout Latvia take GPS coordinates using a handheld GPS unit of the giant hogweed.
I think it's a real big problem here in Latvia. So that's why we're here, to know more.
Yeah, to know more and how we can help to protect Latvia from this hogweed.
Have you had any experience before with hogweeds?
No, really no, but near my house, there's a lot of hogweeds.
I never saw so many of them in one place, but now when I heard about how many they are and how dangerous they are, I think it's a big problem now.
Now the summer program that we're getting involved in right now is kind of a trial for this larger effort here in Latvia for high school students all around the country. So we're going to test out our processes and have the high school students are going to learn how to use these GPS units and go take data in the field of where the giant hogweed is, and they'll enter it onto the system online, and we'll see just how well they do, and if our system needs to be improved or if it's already perfect.
And estimate the distance from us to the hogweed over there, that giant linden tree that happens to be hogweed. And bearing. You use the compass to get the bearing. If you need any help, just raise your hand, let me know.
What we're trying to do is get the actual coordinates of this latvani plant, right? But you can't go there because it's dangerous, right? So you take the coordinates of another place, you have the bearing and the distance to it, that will allow us to later calculate the actual coordinates right there. In addition to mapping the giant hogweed, we're also going to model the spread of giant hogweed. So we're going to look at giant hogweed locations in multiple time points, for instance from 2005 using satellite imagery, and from 2010 using both satellite imagery and GPS. And we're going to see where the giant hogweed tends to spread to and how quickly.
This is the field book, and that's all the stuff you need to put in the field book, right? You have to fill all those categories. So there's your pen.
Okay.
And a compass. And this magic thing, the GPS. Look at it turned on, get the satellites going.
16.2.
Sounds perfect.
Where I need to.
You want to put that on the bearing.
North was at longitude.
North is latitude.
Latitude.
Yeah.
All numbers.
All numbers. Make sure we need 2 whole numbers and then 5 numbers in the decimal after. How many Latvanis do you see in this field?
2,000.
2,000.
I don't know.
Okay.
2 or one. No, not 1,000, but 116.
116? That sounds perfect. I think 116 exactly. Yes, and the reason that we need these is so that we know how to proceed. If we're looking for one, we use a different procedure than we do if we're looking for a whole field. And if you say 160, we know we're looking for a field and not one plant.
90.
90 sounds good. All right, let me see this real quick. I'll make you a fancy little line. Okay, so this is your spot right here. We need to write the bearing under the bearing. So that's 90 degrees, right? How far to the middle of this patch? Not to right here. Here, ready?
50?
50?
Less.
Less, probably.
10 meters.
10 sounds good. And you want to wait for all 4 satellites to be connected, and that will improve your accuracy. This tells you what your accuracy is. So what this basically says is that this unit will tell you within 7 meters where you are on the Earth right now from this spot. Okay? So now that you know that you have 7-meter accuracy, that's good enough to work with. You go hit this page button right here, and you get to this spot right there. And to mark the spot where you are, you get to this one. Okay? And then you want to hit enter.
The thing with GIS is because for each point, we don't just get the longitude and latitude, but we get other attributes that are associated to that point. Like for instance, who collected it, the date that it was collected, the place, the name of the place, and then the longitude and latitude. If I was a swimmer and I want to go swimming and I want to know the rivers that have giant hogweed along the sides of the river so that I'm careful, I can decide to show only the rivers and where the giant hogweed occurs.
We will introduce with our method how we can fighting with hogweed. The first could be salt. We put salt into hogweed store. The second, hot coal, and the third one we could use plastic film to cover the field.
We would advertise the number that people should call, and we want to involve celebrities because that attracts attention.
There are other instances of not just with Latvanis, but other projects that involve environmental problems where there have been hotlines, like your idea, a phone line. So you're going to invent a machine that goes underground
And you're saying and there will be no human involved?
No, human will sit on the computer and will lead it where it has to go. Yes.
Giant hogweed is a problem throughout most of Eastern Europe, particularly northern Eastern Europe. It's a big problem in Russia, but also Western Europe. It's not as big a problem, but it's a problem in France, Germany, Scandinavia, Ireland, England, also in Canada and the northern U.S. Our website is going to be used as a kind of a meeting place, an online meeting place for people to discuss how to get rid of hogweed, for people to see where the hogweed is, kind of monitor how it's being controlled, where it has been controlled, where it needs to be controlled, and all kinds of issues related to this topic.
Blowing the hogweed.
We have work to do. Oh, nice. Yeah, okay. Nice.